Hey everyone, welcome to Zeitgeist Zealots. I'm Forrest.
I'm Major.
I'm Robbie.
And I am the final one to announce himself, Tip.
And today we're going to talk about the new episode of Last of Us, the third episode with Bill and Frank. I forgot what it was called. It's like something like Long Time or something like that. Did I get it right? But it's the third episode with Bill and Frank. And I think we only had maybe one zombie in this episode. And it was
talking about the creeper.
Yeah. But the rest of the episode was like Bill.
It was a love story.
A love story, y'all.
I think I'm in love with this story. But you know what else we're in love with here at Zeitgeist Zealots? That's right, the Bad Batch, Star Wars. We're in love with pain and distracting background noise. We love it all here.
Well, I think before we dive into Last of Us,
let's
some news for us.
Yeah, let's talk about things we don't love, like
the news for us before the Last of Us.
Ew from Justin Roiland, right? Gross. More details have come out.
Was that a bad pun? Was that a pun in bad taste?
Cartoon Network is now accepting.
More details came out.
Cartoon Network is now accepting. Well, at least they should be accepting. Is auditioning for all of Justin Roiland's characters.
All two of them.
Yeah,
he can only do two voices.
He only has two voices, but those two voices span 1,000 characters.
Those two voices have grossed him hundreds of millions of dollars.
More bad puns. Gross. Okay, so speaking of money, I want to ask you your guys' opinion about this. What if I said that the Flash movie is going to be one of the greatest superhero movies of all time? What would you think? Is that bullshit?
Can we hear that from someone who isn't working for WB?
Well, all right. Well, no, that was me. That was my opinion. You see, you took.
But I think James Gunn's seen it though, because
James Gunn has seen it. Yeah. So
yeah.
James Gunn has seen it. James Gunn said, James Gunn has said that the Flash movie is one of the greatest superhero movies of all time. So for everyone out there, including us, who are wondering why did they X Batgirl and not the Flash, right? Which would be a substantially bigger cut on taxes, right? We were all speculating that it was Flashpoint, it was resetting the DC universe, and it probably still is. But actually, guys, it turns out that they might not have fired Ezra Miller after all of his terrible things, allegedly. Because this movie's good, which does sound pretty Hollywood, right? Hollywood's way more about talent over ethics or morals, right?
Well, not even like talent in this case. It's just if they think the movie's going to be financially successful, they're going to keep him on, just regardless of the things he's done in his personal life.
It does come down to dollars at the end of the day.
Because he was he started off with just a terrible choice for Barry Allen to begin with. He has acts nothing like him, looks nothing like him. It was just a very strange casting choice to begin with, and I think he just has familial connections in Hollywood, as most young actors do.
That's
I'm pretty sure 1/3 of actors are someone's son or someone's daughter of someone famous or someone.
But Forrest, but hear me out on this. Perhaps they've come from ancestral thespianship. If you think about that as just a lineage throughout human history, perhaps it's just that their genes, produce the thespian.
More of a nurture
character
than a nepotism. Is that what you're saying? Which is pretty apt, considering that this upcoming Sunday we have the first Super Bowl ever to host competing brothers, right? You got one brother on one team, one brother on the other team, right? Is that nature? Is that nurture? It's probably a combination of both, right? Which
also, yeah, well, it's so you grow up in this environment, right? But then also you probably get acting classes because you're interested in it, and then acting's very difficult.
I like to think, absolutely, right? Like I like to think.
Tell that Keanu Reeves.
Your children, Tippers, will have a green thumb, much like their father.
Speaking of Keanu Reeves in Bill and Ted. Wasn't there a show called Bill and Frank? That I was trying to segue that one.
I'm not quite there
Well,
yet.
you can
So,
segue
I shot
into
for it.
a IP that has been around much longer than Ted and Bill's Excellent Adventure, and that's Scooby-Doo, guys. I know a lot of our listeners here aren't watching a lot of the filth and crap that's on TV, and I'm so happy. That's like what we're here for, right? Like, we're here to break down the Bad Batch, and I'm here to tell you how terrible Velma is, or give you some of the highlights from it, right? It turns out in the latest episode of Velma, which, shoot me, right? It turns out Scooby-Doo was a CIA PSYOPs project where they put soldiers' brains into animals' bodies. So, zoinks. They also divulged the origin of Jinkies, right? So just, dude, like, if you can't describe like projects in the early 2020s, it's taking IP from before 2000 and then explaining it, right? It's like, where did Han Solo's dice come from? Where did Velma get the word Jinkies from, right? Like, we were just fresh out of ideas.
Yeah, I don't care about this show, but I'm glad you're taking one of the team.
Oh, I don't either. I don't care about it either. I care about the fans, and I want them to know this episode's also not worth watching, right? We are 0 for 6, but that cannot be said for the Bad Batch. Am I right, Robbie?
Yeah, I watched
Yeah,
it.
dude. All right, so
Bad
Bad Batch.
Did you watch last week's episode for us?
Yeah.
I couldn't. I think I got like 10 minutes into it. So I can't do this.
Oh, you didn't even get to the giant robot?
No.
The giant robot was cool, but I get that. Listeners, if you're like Forrest and you skipped that episode, watch this one, because this one's actually action-packed, pretty damn good. Directed by Miguel Sapochnik. I'm just kidding. That's the director from.
If you haven't watched any of the rest of the season, just hop into this show right here.
Yeah, just hop into.
It will make perfect sense,
episode
dude.
6, right?
Hey, what's Bad Batch? I don't know. Watch this.
How much sense do
What's
you
that?
really know, right? They fucking land, right? We'll go over the episode, right? They land, they shoot some stuff, right? But I was making a joke about how dark the episode is. Miguel Sapochnik is that guy from not Lord of the Rings, not Ring of Power, Game of Thrones, that motherfucker. But cool. So, Rob, what did you think about the episode overall? I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought this was probably one of the strongest episodes, if not the strongest, at least action-packed episode of the season, if not the series. What do you think?
Yeah, I can agree with it. Because, hey, they bring in Wookiees and Jedi.
Right? Oh, a Wookiee Jedi, right? And you can't have a Wookiee without a Trandoshan slave trapper, right? Because, you gotta keep going back to that well over and over again. That's a Clone Wars reference.
Is that what those robots were?
No, that's what the green reptiles, the Trandoshans.
Oh, okay.
Or Transoceans.
Yeah,
you might remember them from.
They just seemed like they wanted to bird everything.
Oh yeah, So because they were on Kashyyyk, the
and then
planet
he was
spelled with 3
offering
Ys for fun.
He was offering 100 Wookiee pelts to who
Yeah,
found
dude,
the Jedi.
dude,
Like, does he already have those in stock, or is he saying you can go hunt 100 of them or something?
The Trandoshans are really big on like enslaving Wookiees. It's like a really part of like the extended universe lore. If you remember back to the book of Boba Mando, right? We actually see Black Chrysanthemum rip the arms off of a Trandoshan at the casino.
What?
Put some translation from real life.
What did he do with the arms afterwards?
Nothing. He walked away. He definitely didn't grab him, put him on stage, and light him up and smoke him like the fingers from Metalocalypse. We'll call back to the last episode. But Forrest, dude, I get where you're coming from, right, dude? I sat down today to watch this episode, right? And the logo came on, and that music came on, the Bad Batch, and then like it said skip intro. And my first thought was literally, I wish I could skip this entire episode. Right? Like that's like just like my honest feelings. I was not looking forward to watching this episode. So
why do you guys do this? Why not watch a good show? Is there not anything good on?
Well, besides Last of Us, which would be a great segue, but I guess we gotta go.
There has to be something. What about I
mean, like
Andy. We could do like we could rehash like an old show. What if we like?
Well, yeah, we
like
could do
win
Gargoyles. Gargoyles is on Disney Plus. That's a great show. That's probably the
Yeah.
best. That's probably the best original content
we could
Disney's
do
ever done.
Gargoyles. All right, but like, what about since we were just talking about Power Rangers last week, they did a crossover with Beetleborgs. You guys remember Beetleborgs?
Beetleborgs. Big bad. I don't remember that one now.
You don't remember Big Bad Beetleborgs? The World of Beetleborgs? So anyway, that's what we should
That was
watch.
a joke. I literally seen this theme song, so obviously I remember it. So
Obviously you remember it. I mean, no. I got the joke. I was just double checking because, like, dude, I reference a lot of TV shows and movies that I have never seen. Dude, you could spend your entire life with me, right? Being my roommate, thinking I have seen the Indiana Jones movies, and I have not. I haven't seen any of them, right? But I can reference with the best of them.
But all right, give me the Indiana Jones theme song then.
Dun 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 dun. Dude, that's crazy. Yeah, dude, I've never seen this.
That was
Like,
close, but it wasn't.
That's
Yeah,
close
I gotta
enough,
say,
right?
My Big Bad Beetleborgs theme song was perfect. So I think that proves that I've seen the show. You did a really crappy Indiana Jones theme song, which I would believe you hadn't seen the show. You hadn't seen the movies.
Except you're forgetting one thing, Forrest, and that's talent. That's pure talent. I could sing you my favorite song, and you'd still be like, I don't think you've ever heard that song before. That's because I am like just tonally deaf. I cannot carry a tune if I had 6 arms, like insert Beetleborg reference. Do these Beetleborgs have? No, they only have 2 arms. Darn it. Well, you get the joke, right? The Beatles in real life have 6 arms.
Well, I've never seen Top Gun, but I know Highway to the Danger Zone.
You know they play that song 4 times?
You've never seen Top Gun?
Times?
Come on.
No.
I've never seen it either, but
Come
I know they play it 4
on.
times thanks to honest trailers.
I don't like Tom Cruise, so I mean.
Oh, speaking of Tom Cruise, I don't have
Yeah.
any platform. I mean, I could tweet this out to my 50 followers, but what's the fucking point here, right? Like, George Santos. Are you guys familiar with George Santos? This
Is he a politician?
this politician up in New York who was lying about everything from being a star volleyball player with double knee surgery to this is not a lie. He was a drag queen down in Brazil. He told the people he was Jewish, but like upon further investigation, it was like Jew-ish.
George.
Like he was kind of Jewish. Yeah, not like Jewish. Like, dude, like the guy's like a complete scam. And honestly, I look at him, dude, and like I think the only thing that's gonna save like his political career, right, would be Scientology. Like, what a complete 180 this guy would do in Scientology. You look at him, and you're like, you fucked up so much. Like, there is nowhere else you can go but Scientology to save yourself.
That's how far you've fallen.
That is how far you fall. When Scientology is the only thing that's gonna bring you back.
Yeah, well, we love Scientology. The Church of Scientology wants to promote or give us some money to promote them. Yeah,
All
I
right,
don't know.
hold on a second.
Forrest,
Can you take this show on
out
the
of
Scientology
principle,
TV?
I think I would have to bow out.
I wouldn't mind. Yeah, I mean,
All right.
if they pay us like $50 grand per ad,
Yeah.
I'll
So-
promote the hell out of Church of Scientology.
On the matter of capitalism, I would have to drop tip really fast.
Yeah. I think Tip would probably drop some of his principles if he was offered $50 grand
Yeah,
just-
that right there.
to just promote Church of Scientology. Anyway, let's get to the DC news that James Gunn announced this week.
Yeah, sure. We were halfway through Bad Batch, but let's circle back to DCEU.
I would take 60 grand and a Scientology brain scan.
Okay.
How about that?
Every man has his
Yeah,
price.
because if I'm taking the money, you can't just take the money. You got to take the cake. You know.
Look,
well,
we all
if
know
you
how-
Let's go,
that's how much
go
it-
full conversion.
60 grand is probably how much it costs to be a year-long member of Scientology, because you got to pay.
one
You got to pay
session
for
for some of them.
Yeah,
No, because then I would pay off my house, and you know.
And then you mortgage that.
There's enough. I mean, there's a
Go
reason.
clear.
There's not. That's just not a random number.
So
here's my
James Gunn
right?
announced.
No. Let's go back to Scientology for a second before we get back to James Gunn.
I'm already bored with it.
Let's put it back real second. All right, so like here's my thing about like going clear, right? Like Scientology is clearly the worst, right? Like everyone's like Leah Rimes is out there. She's even on a Joe Rogan episode. If you don't want to watch like the documentary on HBO, right? Like there, like you can. The truth is out there. Not to get all like X-Files on you guys, but
what's that theme song, Major?
Yeah, do.
You've never seen X-Files.
I've never seen X-Files. How close is that? How close is that? All right, so I missed the fourth. I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Hey, you kind of started it.
But like, so like,
dude, we should just rewatch the X-Files. Let's just do that. That'd be friggin'.
It's a show that started off.
Have nightmares again for years.
That was a scary show when you were 3 years old.
That show messed me up, dude.
Like literally a guy getting his head cut off and growing it back. That's like traumatizing when you're a 3-year-old. Anyway,
no, or the guy who yeah, it was great. It was
the
great,
living or the man-sized leech or whatever it was.
What?
Yeah. I can hear people
90s
subscribing as this conversation.
The talking tattoo. That was scary. Anyway, so James
speaking
Gunn.
of scary, let's talk about Superman Legacy.
Yeah, so James Gunn, I think he's right. I don't know if he's directing it, but
he's writing it. That's why it's scary. We've all has anyone else seen James Gunn last Superman?
So we're gonna see Superman going off like telling a joke that just runs on for way too long, and he's gonna be dancing to I don't know, Saturday Night Fever. I don't know.
Hey, if Superman lasers off some guy's dick, though, I will stand up in the middle of the theater and I will furiously applaud until the credits of the movie.
If James Gunn makes Superman into Homelander, I don't know.
No, I was thinking Peacemaker. I was thinking like Peacemaker shenanigans, not Homelander. And the evil. I was thinking more like the whimsical kind of thing. But you're right. That would never happen. You think it's going to be a return to I guess I was gonna say Legacy Superman, but it's called Superman Legacy.
Probably less neck snapping, at least.
Superman bound in heritage with his human upbringing.
Like
guys,
every
it
other
sounds like
movie.
we're gonna see another Superman origin story. Who here is excited to see another Krypton explode?
It's like seeing Bruce Wayne's parents get murdered again.
Dude. Except it's a good gauge for how CGI has enhanced over the years, right? If you just time lapse every Krypton exploding, you'll see the huge advancements in CGI.
So they're basically paying less for writers and more for graphic designers. So really, if we're to encourage young children in this day and age to pursue any career, it would be
CGI, 3D design.
No. So in my other podcast, I go on a little rant about it. You can check it out if you like business and stock market news. It's the Roots Report. But and I also tweeted it out if you follow me on Twitter. The Bureau of Labor Statistics. What's Twitter? Has like puts out reports, right? Like economic reports about like the statistics of our labor, right? And the data that makes up those statistics, right? And like in the thousands, right? Like the age group like 16 to 25, there's like 10,000 forestry workers, right? 7,000 forestry workers, I think. And in the 55 to 65 and older age, right? 65 or 55 and up range, right? It's like 4 times as much, right? And you see that in forestry, you see that in like mechanics, you see that in like construction, right? You see that in agriculture. Like there's just a massive amount of people with like skill sets, like hard work and skill sets with elbow grease, like that are just like about to retire in the next 10-20 years. And then you look at like the young people coming into those fields and like they replace them on like on a 1 to 4 or a 1 to 5 basis. It's really kind of scary. So
hold on, wait though. I will say this. Yeah, I will say this, dude. People really, I mean, you don't really get into your career when you're that young. I mean, you're just hopping around doing, service stuff. And, at some point, though, you got to make a career and, you might get a job at a manufacturing plant. And you're, when you settle down, you got a wife, you got kids, you got a job, you get a job at, X plant or, Y factory or, this hospital, whatever it might be. whatever institution.
Yeah, that's a great point. That's a fantastic point. I do not have the data set from 10 or 20 years ago to compare against, right? Because maybe forestry has always had a low number of young employees, right? Maybe it takes life to kick the shit out of you before you decide to go find yourself.
Man, you're like 40, 45 years old. You're like, man, I might go cut some trees down.
Right?
And then replant them.
Right? Or you might decide to take on this amazing adventure heading the next 10 years of the DC Extended Universe, right?
Ooh,
with
very
things
nicely
like,
done.
Thank you. Things like Superman Legacy or The Authority, which
everyone's read that.
Everyone knows The Authority.
It's basically like what if Superman and Batman were a couple.
2026.
I mean, it's more than that, but that's sort of like one of the selling points of that series. It's like an adult, more like mature Justice League, but what if Superman and Batman were boyfriend and boyfriend? Because there's a Superman's called Apollo.
Gag me with the spoon.
And Batman's called
pass.
Midnighter. This came out in the early 2000s when it was like really innovative. If it came out now, it'd be like
provocative.
but,
it'd be derivative as fuck. So we're all gonna make a bunch of jokes about this because
kind of like
in 20 minutes we're about to talk how beautiful The Last of Us this episode was. And by 20 minutes, guys, I mean like 5 minutes. We're about to rush through the rest of this. We're gonna get to The Last of Us. Don't worry. But yeah, no, you know what I want to see? I want to see Batman dating Robin. Let's go. Let's fucking.
That's very progressive.
Let's James Gunn this bitch.
Not if he's 8 years old, Major. I mean, maybe it's sort of like The Last of Us.
All right. Well, what do you?
I can see like Batman and Joker being like weird, fetish kind of people, but.
You guys are interrupting my transition. I'm trying to transition to the next one, but you guys keep interrupting me, which makes me just sound like a pedophile.
What's your transition?
I'm gonna have to interrupt you guys right now to say like that joke did not land. Please do not count that. Like I'm trying to transition to The Brave and the Bold, which is based on Grant Morrison's comic book series where Batman and Damian Wayne as Robin, aka the son of the Bat.
Like we're never gonna get Dick Grayson as Robin on screen again. It seems that way. It's a shame.
You should go by your real name. It's so beautiful, Robin.
Oh gosh, don't even bring that up.
That's so stupid,
but
dude. Like,
is
he gonna use his real name as his superhero identity? What the fuck, Nolan?
It was he so did not care about that movie. He was like, I'm only doing this so I get funding. He was like,
I made the greatest movie of all time. I had Heath Ledger. I'm done.
Yeah, and there was like, you can't make your next movie unless you make Batman 3. And he was like,
yeah, dude.
Crap,
he really felt like he was like a Supergirl because he was more like a Woman of Tomorrow, right?
Well, they're doing that series too, or I don't know if it's gonna be a movie or a TV series. They're doing a Supergirl series.
It's gonna be a film, according to CBC.
Okay. Are they gonna use the girl from the Flash movie?
I do not believe so.
Okay.
But it's gonna be based on Tom King's comic series. So Supergirl's been portrayed like 100 times. But if I remember correctly, this is more of like a battle-hardened Supergirl. Like she watched Krypton die, and then she was like sent to Earth to watch to watch over Kal-El, right? Clark Kent. And then I can't remember if this is her or Power Girl, but like they got caught up in the sun or some kind of rotation, so they end up going to Earth like way later in life than they're supposed to, and like Superman's already Superman, and so Supergirl's kind of like, what the fuck am I supposed to do here?
It's like, you're my sidekick now. I think Supergirl could be good. I know like Peter David did a series with her that was pretty good, and I think anything Peter David does is great.
Let me ask you this.
We'll see.
Supergirl over Wonder Woman, right? You have a Superman, you have a Batman, no Wonder Woman. We're doing Supergirl. Do you think this is the right choice?
Well, I think more Wonder Woman would definitely be. I mean, if they're doing like, if they're already rebooting Batman when Matt Reeves hasn't even finished his Batman trilogy, then I'm pretty sure they can do another Wonder Woman with or without Gal Gadot. Hopefully, another Flash too.
You want to end continuity, or you want to out of continuity? Like
you want to end in the Snyderverse continuity for sure, because they're rid of Cavill. Affleck's not coming back.
Dude, that second Wonder Woman movie was so bad, dude. Just kill it, dude.
Yeah.
Kill it if you have to. Whatever that dumb Star Wars line is.
Yeah, so I'd be fine with them rebooting everything at this point, but they don't seem to want to get rid of, because they're doing like the Amanda Waller show, which they're bringing back Viola Davis.
I mean, like, can you blame them though? Like, dude, she's perfectly cast. But so was Henry Cavill.
So was Henry Cavill, yes.
Yes, so was Henry
Cavill. Gunn's just like they won't make up their mind. They won't make a decision. Like, are they going to reboot or are they not going to reboot? And it's just that's pissing people off, because they just won't make a commitment to what they want to do.
Oh yeah, and then people are like, "Oh, James Gunn didn't fire his wife," and it's like, "Yeah, bro, are you fucking stupid?" Like, what?
Happy wife, happy life.
Yeah, man. Like, what?
So, well, I don't know if she's even gonna be Peacemaker season 2. I haven't even heard anything, because he's probably like so freaking busy with like everything else he got to do DC wise, that Peacemaker season 2 might not even happen. But he's writing like a Creature Commandos cartoon series. I'm vaguely familiar with them. I just know it's like a bunch of monsters, like Universal monsters. But since they're all public domain,
mainstays, right? You got a werewolf, a vampire, like you got Dracula. That's the vampire. You got like a Frankenstein's monster, right? It's like,
yeah. I thought all these were
all the public domains.
Yeah, because Marvel has like Werewolf by Night. They have their own version of Dracula. They have something called a Living Mummy. So yeah, we'll see how it goes.
But what about Waller? So they have a TV show coming. So they have 5 TV shows coming out. They announced 5 movies.
How are they going to make it
the 5th movie is Swamp Things. The 5 television projects will go through Creature Commandos, Waller, Booster Gold, Lanterns, and Paradise Lost. Let's go back to Waller. This series will feature characters from Peacemaker.
So basically, her daughter and I guess the Economos, is that his name? The big guy with the beard?
Yeah, with the dye beard.
They should just do like a Suicide Squad TV show at this point. They want to bring back Waller, and like what's great about Suicide Squad is a great way to like showcase like C-list DC villains.
Dude, yes.
And
I would like that's what I was about to pitch. Like, what if it's like 5 or 6 hour-long episodes and they're each like standalone, right? And it's just her like picking different wacky fucking villains out of the prison, right? And then going and face a different wacky fucking villain. Like, that would be fun.
So yeah, we'll see.
God dang it.
That's probably gonna happen. I'm sure James Gunn has Condiment King on his radar and he wants to use them, because we had Polka Dot Man in a freaking movie, and
Squirrel Girl. And Squirrel Girl 2. Excuse me, Squirrel Girl 2. So then we have Booster Gold, which New kids on the block are all about the Booster Gold, right? Old heads, maybe not so much.
All I know about Booster Gold is that he was on like a really good episode of Justice League Unlimited. He was basically just like a base, sort of like a C-list member of the Justice League. And like while all the other heroes are fighting like Mordru or this big bad, he sort of like goes on like a side mission and prevents like a black hole from swallowing the city. While like he gets like no credit for it, but he gets the girl at the end. So
hey man, that's all that matters, right? That's all that matters is getting the girl at the end.
And then he was
Booster
on
Gold he's a basic bitch from the future, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who wants to be special, so he goes back in time and just has a bunch of future tech, and that's why he's a superhero.
Yeah, pretty much. So it's like if you went back to the Middle Ages and you just had like a drone with you and like a gun and a car, you would be a superhero in the Middle Ages.
Yeah,
with
basically,
just those.
right?
So,
and then we have Lanterns, which is going to be a true detective style.
I don't know how that's going to work, but at least I'm glad they're bringing back Hal Jordan, because I think he's like, he's obviously
Hal Jordan.
He's the star of the franchise. But I'm guessing they're going to go like hard traveling heroes, like with Green Arrow and Green Lantern. It was like a series where like Green Lantern and Green Arrow went on like a road trip around America, and they would like solve crimes or like fight injustice.
Something like that. But maybe hopefully better.
I'm guessing, yeah.
Check it, bro. Check it. Paradise Lost. Rob, what do you think about this? A Game of Thrones style show set in Themyscira, home of the Amazons and birthplace of Wonder Woman. This drama focuses on the genesis and political intrigue of an island of all women.
I'm so sick of the Game of Thrones style tag they're putting on all these shows. Like, they're kind of missing the point of Game of Thrones. It's like Game of Thrones was so innovative, and now everything else wants to be imitative of Game of Thrones instead of innovative.
Was Game of Thrones innovative, or was it just Lord of the Rings, but they like
with TNA
killed your favorite characters?
It was Lord of the Rings with TNA. I don't know. I mean,
like one of my favorite things about Game of Thrones, not A Song of Ice and Fire, right? Like that's a forest realm, right? But one of the things about Game of Thrones is like you wrote these beautiful characters, and these beautiful characters follow the logic of these characters, right? And sometimes that shit got them killed, right? Like the Red Wedding, right? Like John's brother, what's his name? Fucking, fell in love with that nurse lady, right? And he followed his heart, and it got him killed, right? That's the logical conclusion.
I don't know if he followed his heart.
He followed the heart of the penis.
Yeah, because he literally says that. He says, like, you said you married her for love. All I see is like a nice pair of tits. That's the thing is what Lord Frey says. Something along that is like all I see is a pretty face and a nice and a tight body. But yeah, I mean, I guess that was one way it was innovative. It like killed off popular characters or main characters unexpectedly.
So, like,
unless you've
let me
read
ask
the
you
books.
this: that is what Game of Thrones is. It's high fantasy with the murder of your actual favorite characters. So if you have a Game of Thrones style show in Themyscira, one, is there going to be tits and ass in my Amazon?
There's going to be a lot of lady on lady love, so that's probably going to boost ratings right there. But I'm not really crazy about all these shows
James Gunn will do it.
that are prequels to. I mean, Krypton, I think, was a good idea because we know Jor-El, and we know
such a good
Zod,
first season.
and we know Zod, we know all these characters, we know what happens to Krypton. But I don't know if that formula for Themyscira is going to work because like all we know is like what Hippolyta. And I mean, it might work now I think about it. It's just going to be like an all-female cast, but it's like
you show enough TNA, it's going to work.
Yeah, just a lot of. I mean, bringing in like a lot of like Greek mythological figures. I mean, like Hercules tries to invade and steal the girdle of Hippolyta. Like that's one of his 12 labors in the old myths. So that could be kind of cool. Like bringing like the Hydra. Bringing like have like cameos by the Greek gods and stuff. Maybe have like international Amazons from like all over the world. Like there's like several tribes of Amazons in the comics.
Oh yeah,
like, there's one,
the Egyptian Amazons.
Yeah, the Bana.
That's
called the Bana Migal. There's a tribe of Amazons in the actual Amazon River. So like there's like different tribes of Amazons around the world. So I mean, if they could like explore that, tap into that, then it could be cool. But yeah, I mean, it'll be like an all-female cast, and that's definitely what people are hankering for these days. So, why The Last Man totally dropped the ball on that premise. But I think maybe anything with good enough writers can be interesting. But
you can write any storyline can be good if you write it well.
Yeah, but it's just like Gotham, Krypton, like this new Madam Web, which is like a prequel to Spider-Man with no Spider-Man. Just like all these prequels without the heroes we care about. And like Pennyworth is like another one. Like, you want to hear about Batman's butler? No. Well, here's 4 scenes of it.
Nope. Yeah, dude. I love Batman.
Don't love his butler.
And I've never watched Pennyworth. I have no desire to watch Pennyworth.
Remember when Sony was going to do an Aunt May solo movie where she was a spy before she met Uncle Ben? It was so stupid.
Yeah,
so it was like, and that might still happen. They're doing a freaking Madam Web movie, a movie nobody wanted. They're doing a Kraven the Hunter movie.
I'm intrigued. I want Web over Kraven the Hunter, who is an animal rights activist. What?
He wears like a pelt of a lion. He's an animal
and
rights
he's
activist.
like he hunts the world's deadliest creatures, and he's an animal rights activist. What is he Kraven? Is he Kraven Beyond Meat? What is happening here?
Yeah. But yeah, those were like all the main shows. I think it was like another show they mentioned. The Authority, obviously. I haven't read any of The Authority, but that's sort of like, I think Warren Ellis wrote it. He wrote Transmetropolitan. So like a lot of British invasion writers wrote The Authority, and it's just sort of like a weird sort of take on the Justice League, but with original characters. It was like one of those comic books that sort of like Watchmen and Before the Boys, it sort of just like broke down the superhero genre or deconstructed it. So that could be interesting if done right. And what else did they announce? They announced a Swamp Thing movie.
Yeah.
Which I would care more about if the Swamp Thing TV show on HBO Max wasn't so good and they canceled it. So I'm pissed off about that. I wish they just announced season 2 of that rather than just do a movie.
But they canceled it because of the tax issues.
Yeah, so they didn't even cancel it because the show was bad, because it obviously wasn't. But
just financial issues. Yeah, but
they're going to have a hard time topping that design, though, because the design for Swamp Thing in that show was perfect.
Fucking keep it. Why not keep it then?
I mean, they want to, but they probably want to differentiate it from the show. So, but James Mangold might direct it, so that got me intrigued. He did Logan and some other movies like 3:10 to Yuma with Christian Bale. It's pretty good. So that could be good. If they make it rated R, I'll be really excited because I think a rated R Swamp Thing could be really cool.
Would be fire, right? And then to wrap things up for our DCEU, just to reassure our old fans, much like ourselves, lots of the old casts are coming back for 2023, including Shazam and Fury of the Gods. We also have the Flash movie. We have a Blue Beetle movie. And don't forget Aquaman: The Last Kingdom.
Oh yeah, Aquaman, the Lost.
I don't think we're getting the Trench anymore. Are we still getting the Trench?
I doubt it. I think that's dead in the water. The only way that movie could have been cool is there's a team in the comics called the Sea Devils, and they're sort of like the Fantastic Four, but they explore the sea instead of space or dimensions, other stuff. So if it starred them, then it could have been cool. But I mean, I don't know. I think just by itself, the Trench just like as a horror movie. Interesting idea, but we've already seen them, so like I think the scare novelty would be gone,
and that would have been good.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see how Aquaman 2 works out. But yeah, and I think Batman 2 with Robert Pattinson's going to be in its own world. Obviously, Joker 2 is going to be in its own world, so it's going to be called DC Elseworld. So. Yeah, I mean, I'm not super excited about anything that's coming out really, or anything that was announced. I mean, I think Swamp Thing, once they get James Mangold on it, attached officially, I'll probably be a little bit more intrigued once we find out who's doing the Authority. But like Waller, I don't care about.
Let's get some casting, right?
Most TV shows I don't care about, but I think once we like have some casting and like some writers announced and get some trailers, I might turn around, but like just the announcements by themselves, I wasn't really intrigued. So, but we'll see. But yeah, Last of Us. So this was the 3rd episode, and Nick Offerman played Bill.
What a fantastic story here, right? Like most of this episode, we explore the story of Bill and Frank, right? Which is very different than the game, right, Robbie?
Yeah, because
they definitely changed some things on this one.
What do you guys think? Rob's going to break down the changes, but what do you guys think overall? Did you like the change?
The change in the game I never played.
I'd say they did a good job with it.
Force is like
they don't really go very deep into it at all in the game.
Well, they get very deep in the TV show, don't they?
Yeah, I think they pretty much they just made out in bed for a little bit, but I don't think it got too graphic, at least because I know like Nick Offerman, he's married to the chick from what's the show called?
Also Parks and Recreation.
No. Yeah.
Brody Rock. She's says a lot.
Not Darman Gregg, the other one. Will and Grace.
Oh, Will and Grace. Will and Grace. That's it.
Yeah. So we know he's married to a woman in real life. I think the other dude is gay in real life, and I didn't realize it at the time. He's the guy from the White Lotus show.
Oh.
So he's like an Australian actor. So I didn't even know it was that dude.
I thought they were both fantastic. I was talking to Robbie. I thought it was pretty funny. I sent him a meme. Like the last time I saw Nick Offerman in a role was as Ron Swanson, and like he had just rubbed the middle of his mustache off from friction from eating out his wife.
Oh,
like,
wow.
That's the implied joke. And it's like the next time I see him, he's like, rubbing his mustache off with this guy, Frank.
Yeah. Nick Offerman was great.
You know what I call that? I call that fucking acting. Is this the epitome of masculinity? Like, because he was like the definition, like for us in our 30s, right? People who grew up, like he was like the definition of masculinity. He was like the Tim the Toolman Taylor. Right? That was a terrible impression. I can't do it, right? But anyway, because he's not my generation. He was the generation before that, right? I had Ron Swanson, so I just pick up computers and I throw them in the garbage cans because I grew up on meme culture. Right? So like this, I just thought it was like the epitome of acting. I don't know if the casting choices were like on purpose, because like Nick Offerman being like the epitome of masculinity. And then Frank, Rob and I were talking about this as well. When he gets old, he kind of looks like Jordan Peterson.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like a lot.
if you just see him sitting there, he's got the beard and like.
Yeah, but when he's old, like cancer Frank. Yeah, dude.
He had Jordan Peterson syndrome.
When he throws that suit on in it, especially.
But shout out to Jordan Peterson, who somehow is skinnier than this actor playing a cancer patient. Like, ooh, shout out to the carnivore diet. Like, way to keep those carbs off. But I don't know if that's trolling or just brilliant casting or just a coincidence or projecting. I have no idea. But I think this is one of the best episodes of television I've ever seen. I felt the entire episode. I emoted.
Oh yeah, I like how they played it out.
So let's break this down. We start off, right? This is so good. The writing's just so good because the first 2 episodes, we start with a prologue and then we go to current day. And in this episode, record scratch, we start with current day and then we get kind of like a prologue, but we get like a backstory, right? Let me ask you guys this. If you were Joel, would you give Ellie a gun? She really wants a gun.
I think she's gonna get one before the season's over.
Oh, she definitely grabbed the gun this episode. She definitely stole one. She stole Frank's gun.
She's got one hidden just in case.
Yeah, she's got one now.
She seems to have a dark passenger with her because she seemed to enjoy cutting that, or killing that, or cutting up that infected before killing him.
So yeah, let's talk about that for a second.
I'd say he's slowly starting to trust her though. And then,
Joel.
Especially once she's already got a gun. I'd say they're just gonna go from there.
They're just gonna go from it. So talking about the trust, we get, and Rob, you played the game, so you know this. When you talk about trust, you feel it growing, but Joel also lays down 3 solid rules.
Oh, and those rules are exactly taken out of the game. It's
exactly right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, of course.
I
can tell that from the
press triangle to run. Press
they made
square
some significant
to crouch.
Changes
Rule number 4.
in this episode.
Press start to save game. Save progress.
Right.
Those 3 rules.
And I'm about to pass over to Robbie to break down the differences in the Franks and the Bills between the game and the TV show.
The birds and the bees.
But I gotta say, from the change, I am totally fine with it. And 1, because I think it's beautiful. 2, I think it's better. Right? I thought it made for a better story. But I think 3, I'm not sure how much this weighs. I don't know if it's 10% or 90%, right? But this was also kind of written and showran by the creator of the video game, right? So I kind of feel like every change made in the TV show is sanctioned, right?
Yeah,
exactly, right?
Blessing.
So it feels so much easier to love and connect with the changes in the TV show because it's made with love and it's made by the same guy. And he's just hey, this is how I would do it because it's a different medium. What do you guys think?
Well, I think Bill's an actual character Ellie and Joel meet. So I thought it seemed a bit pointless to introduce him and just not have him interact with them at all. I mean, obviously they interacted with Joel in the flashback, and it was nice to have Tess come back in a flashback for a little bit.
Basically just a character you run into to get the vehicle in the game.
Yeah, so I think it would be cool but I think it would be cool to see how he and interacted. It could be funny.
That would have been good to see them interact. I see. Okay. I see what you're saying, Forrest. Why dedicate basically an entire episode to a character who will never interact with the main character? And my personal takeaway, my assumption was, it's a beautiful story, right? But it's an excuse to tell a beautiful story because they needed the parts. What were you saying, Rob?
Yeah, Joel and him did have a little history, and they kind of broke that down, how they kind of met each other, and then
he's I never liked you, but I respected you.
Oh, how about blah blah blah? Get that gun out of my fucking face, dude. So good, dude. Hey, I'm not a bad guy. You're not a bad guy, and get the fucking gun out of my face, dude. He was so smooth about it, dude. He was just he was how's the weather? Get that fucking gun out of my face.
Yeah.
But let's break this down, right? Before we break this down, I did want to say one extra thing, and I really enjoyed how Ellie by the world, she was what, you get to fly in the sky, that's so cool. And,
that was
a car, and she's like, what? This is a car, and she doesn't know what a safety belt is. And I was just
they do play her innocence a little extra in the show.
Yeah, do they? I love it, dude. Because that, think about it. It's
you really feel
Chronicles was 23 years ago, and she's 12. So yeah, she would have no idea.
Grown up in this
Well, like,
You have no idea what airplane.
She was
looks like in the
disconnected
sky.
for a long time.
yeah, he was like, you didn't miss much being in a cramped plane with crappy food.
Yeah, but like,
And they were like, but you got to go into this.
yeah, dude.
man.
It's a great reminder that
They don't have
there's
helicopters?
A bunch of dope things in the world that we just take for granted, like background audio.
I would imagine they have helicopters still in this world, like the Fedra. Maybe, I mean, obviously, maybe she hasn't been in one.
Well, you
but
think
I
the
would-
maybe the first 10 years, but the last 13, I feel like a lot of those helicopters are bye-bye.
Well, they still have cars going around. I imagine they still have helicopters being stocked and fueled. And
That's true, but she didn't know what a safety. She didn't know what a seatbelt was.
it's a belt on
So-
your seat. Not that hard.
right.
But it's more like
way to abandon. What's that movie term about?
MacGuffin.
No,
poor
it's when
Chekhov's
you
gun.
Forget something to fall into the movie. Damn. Whatever. You like
Exposition?
Suspension of disbelief.
okay.
That's it. Anyway, guys, America, right? We got pretty lucky in comparison to this with COVID-19, right? Like one of the funniest tweets I read during the lockdown. This is like 2 or 3 months into the lockdown, right? One of the funniest tweets was like, "Well, it's nice to know that none of us would have survived the zombie apocalypse, right? We were getting stir crazy." So my question to you guys is, do you think the government would do mass graves today? Like our government right now?
Man, how they saw all those bodies.
No.
there.
Yeah, dude, that's
I
scary,
don't
dude. Like,
know.
dude, that's when I'm like, dude, I've never felt more prepper in my entire life. I was like, yeah, dude, I was getting on Twitter. I was like, yeah, guys, you go protect that Second Amendment. It's not for me.
We all got to turn
but like,
into
someone
Bill.
needs to be protecting it.
Yeah,
like,
Bill
holy
was like
shit.
definitely 100% right. to
He's
have,
one
like,
of those
the-
preppers that's been just preparing for this for
Dude,
years.
Bill is so right, dude.
And he knew exactly
Dude,
where
and
to
how
go.
about that? How about that secret trap door to his bunker? That's
Oh,
kinda
dude,
nice.
I want one in my house. That's so good. I don't care if it goes to a bathroom.
how it moves that. What was that?
It was like a wardrobe or some furniture
Yeah.
on top, dude. It was so nice, yeah.
And how it's just like bolted to the floor and moves with the door. That was kinda
Yeah,
cool.
dude. Yeah, dude. Because he got the big red X on his door from the soldiers, which means it was all clear, right? Like, and then, dude, everyone cleared out of town, and that dude was a
And he's got
kid in
cameras
the candy
everywhere.
store, dude. The first thing.
Oh,
he does
dude, yeah, that was one of the things I wanted to bring up. I was like, how about that look of just pure joy in his face when he
Yeah.
goes, he's got the town to himself.
Dude, but it's not just he's got the town to himself. Imagine being a paranoid prepper for like 30, 40 plus years,
And you're
right?
it-
And
like,
then you're right. You're
what better
fucking
moment
right.
where you can say, I told you so.
Dude, like, and it's sad, right? And reality, it's sad because I mean, I say reality, it's a fucking television show. Like, I mean, reality, it's sad because like all of his towns, all of his neighbors got fucking gunned down in a mass grave, right? But like, Bill is so happy. He was right all along, and he gets
just
prepped.
shopping through Home Depot. He's just
No, he
gets-
goes, he grabs his neighbor's boat. He buys that
he
premium
cuts on-
fucking gas.
Oh yeah, hits that 91.
He gets that 91. He's been treating himself. So he
Fills
gets all
up all those
prepared.
drums. He cuts on the reserve gas line,
Yeah.
but it's just gonna be him, so it'll last him for years.
Forever.
Well, the thing is, that's why you had to build that fence, though. People would come.
And what a fence, dude.
Yeah,
we'll get
and-
into it.
and
We'll get into
zombies.
it. In a
Oh
couple
man, all those traps he got set up
times.
over
Dude, so
time.
sick. But,
It's like,
Yeah.
that never gets old.
but
And
let's
he's got it all automated so that they trip a sensor. He goes to turn a TV on to watch him just like run into his trap.
dude, so good. But let's talk about the biggest trap of all: falling in love.
Wow.
So after we meet Bill, we flash forward 4
Might have
years.
been a whole. Oh, he was so paranoid about like there's just more of them in his group just waiting. in the
Frank
street.
was just like the
Yeah, dude.
absolute worst to survive. He fell in a hole in the middle of the day.
I thought
mean-
about lying that I had a weapon. But
He might be the absolute worst at surviving, but there are at least 9 dead people that were worse than him. He's the only
That's
one who
true. Like he
survived.
can't
And
play
that-
piano. He can't
and that
cook.
dinner and wine that he got.
Yeah, so here's my question. First off, as soon as Frank got out of that hole, I was like, yo, are they about to fuck? And then they have like this awkward, like he's making them dinner and they start connecting and they're playing piano.
He's acting like a waiter to him.
My heart of hearts, dude, was hoping this was going to be like a Poe and Finn situation from Star Wars, right? I thought this was going to be a beautiful platonic love story about two grown-ass men finding each other and finding comfort and platonic intimacy, like growing up, like in this apocalypse, like growing old in this apocalypse together.
When Bill said there wasn't a woman, he
yeah,
got the hit.
I was like, I was like, no, they got He's like, I know.
And
There's
then
no
when
woman.
he said, go take a shower, and he's just waiting in bed for him. I was like,
Yeah.
damn,
Here's
this
my
move's
thing.
best.
Was you think Frank was gay the whole time? Because I'll tell you right now, if I got trapped in that hole and I was getting those vibes from Bill and he gave me that wine and he poured that wine with his thumb in the middle of that bottle,
Frank was just pretending to be gay, just get
I would have changed, dude. I would have changed so fucking fast, dude. Nah, dude. Like as soon as
when he found out,
I do what you gotta do to survive.
Yeah, dude. I'm like, nah, dude. I don't want to go
to
to Boston. I want to stay here. This
His
guy
wife shows up one day, say, "Oh, hi, honey."
Frank said that line when he was like, I was like, if we do this, I'm gonna stay a few more days.
Yeah,
that's okay, right? And then it's just the way.
3
like,
years later,
basically, like he's doing this just to stay.
That's what I'm saying, right? It's like, dude, I get it. Like, I've seen movies about prison.
And then they fell in love for real. Like, what if he really was from the start, but then he started to really fall in love?
Dude,
that would be kind of funny.
Yeah,
it would be funny if he was faking the whole time for 20 years.
I swear I'm not a whore. It's like what he actually said.
Yeah, dude, he's like, I'm not a whore. I don't do this often. I'd be like, bro.
Then they get internet again. They go to frankisahore.com. You lied to me.
I'm like, bro, there ain't no one in this town but me. I don't care if you're the biggest.
You're the biggest whore in town.
Yeah, you're my whore in town.
So they cut to 3 years, and he's like,
dude,
fuck you.
What a good cut. It's intimate, it's romantic, and then just like marriage, you blink and they're fucking screaming at each other.
So, like,
right?
I could see, like, if they didn't fix that right there, that would have been the game.
Yeah.
So,
that's a good point.
I actually have the letter pulled up right here.
Yeah, elaborate a little bit more for Robbie.
You want to go a little more, or you say?
No, I want you to. I want you to elaborate. Yeah, so set us up. So tell us this is the difference between the game and this is where we really diverge.
Yeah, so in the game you find this note from Frank. Like, Bill doesn't even know like what's been up with Frank. It says, "Well, Bill, I doubt you'd ever find this note because you were too scared to ever make it to this part of town." So basically, Frank,
bitch move.
He moved to he couldn't really leave because of all the zombies and they were so set up there. He basically went as far away as he could to the other side of town. And he basically made that the other side of town
passive aggressive. I hate you. I'm leaving you. However, I appreciate what you did and keeping this community safe.
Yeah, that would have been cool to see.
So the rest of the note says, like, I doubt you ever find this note because you were too scared to ever make it to this part of town. But if for some reason you did, I want you to know I hated your guts.
Whoa!
I grew tired of this shitty town and of your set in your ways attitude. I wanted more from life than this, and you could ever get that. And that stupid battery you kept moaning about, I got it. But I guess you were right. Trying to leave this town will kill me. It's still better than spending another day with you. Good luck, Frank. Like, things didn't end as happy in the game.
This is exactly why I like this episode way more than the game.
But you needed a battery, so you set out with Bill to go get the battery so you could fix the truck. So
and that's how you find his body.
And you find out that apparently Frank got bit, and before he could turn, he hung himself.
You bit.
Yeah, but that's when you start. That's when you actually get the hint that they were actually together. He wasn't just a friend, because he gets really emotional. And he even says like something about like only. So is this Frank? He's like, yeah, only Frank would wear a shirt as stupid as that or something like that.
Oh yeah, that's definitely some bitter X shit right there.
Yeah, and he says like he was my partner.
Wink, wink, grin, grin, nudge, nudge.
Well, it is fun to point out that the outbreak took place in September 2003, and gay marriage wasn't legalized in Massachusetts till November 2003. Right? Yeah, I watched that. I watched that Screen Rant video. Yeah, what's up, Lex?
The world basically shut down, so that's
yeah,
where,
dude, you're not exactly fighting for gay
stayed.
rights when you're fighting for your life.
Earth is closed today, Squidward.
Shut up, Iron Man.
Yeah.
But so, thank you, Robbie, for breaking down for your PlayStation analysis. We appreciate that. One of my favorite parts about that couples fight, right? So going back to in the game where they were able to rectify this fight here. I like your theory, Rob. Right? Like if they did fix this fight right here,
that totally would have been the game if they didn't fix things.
So I guess really like the pivoting point in the argument is when like Frank is freaking out about Bill being paranoid, and he's like, "You fucker! Like you think like everyone in the government is like you think the government's full of Nazis?" And then Bill's like, "The government is full of Nazis, right?" And then he's like, "Well,
they are
now.
Nazis." So it's like, yeah, they are now. Yeah.
Like that kind of like dude, it's such good writing. Like that's like
that was so funny.
That is such like a couples fight, like screaming, making jokes, like punchlines, like screaming at each other. Like it's such like a couple. Like I love it.
I swear to God, if you say resource management,
one
I
more
will
time.
run into your trip line.
Yeah, dude, it's so good. Oh man! And then we flash forward
It's pretty
3
funny.
years later.
And then they're both like, one's Jordan Peterson, the other one is Santa, and
they're growing strawberries, and then they try to fuck on some strawberries.
oh yeah, remember like his childish giggle when he tastes this like.
He's like, I traded these packet of seeds for a gun. He's like, which gun? Oh, it doesn't matter. A small one.
A small one.
He's like, how'd you get these seeds? And he's like, used to flashback with the test. Like, I'm not a whore. But if I do this, I'm gonna need some of those seeds.
So let's juxtapose
that was actually one of the best scenes though.
Then three seats later.
The next one was.
Oh my
right?
God, that would be
juxtaposing
so
the strawberries to the middle of the night, right? And there's fire going off, right? And shit's like blowing up everywhere, right? It's such a badass scene. I have one complaint.
If I do this,
and that's Bill. Like taking zero cover, right? Bill looks so cool in the middle of the street with his sniper rifle, like shooting raiders. But at the same time, it's like Bill,
he's just standing
cover.
there too.
Take
that
some
was one
fucking
thing.
cover.
Wait, hold on,
Bro.
wait, Major. Before we go back to the darkness, I did want to comment on the strawberry scene.
Yeah, let's get some forest expert from our non-forest expert.
In that horrible, horrific post-apocalyptic scenario with fungal zombies.
Yeah.
They didn't wash the strawberries before eating them.
They traded a handgun, which in this scenario would be of incalculable value, for a packet of seeds.
Yeah.
To grow strawberries.
Yeah.
But so think about like the value of that moment when they ate those strawberries. I mean, you could, imagine the sacrifice of giving away a gun. I mean, that'd be
he had like
valuable.
100. He had like 100 guns though. So
no, I mean, even then,
chance.
Forrest, dude, there's no more gun manufacturing happening. You know what I mean? It's like
it's like who cares about strawberries?
I wouldn't even say like 100. I would say he had like over 200 guns. But
but even that's a trivial amount. I mean, in the grand scheme of.
I could see if he had like 2 guns, then but. Yeah, they had the strawberries and they had the cream later. So
yeah, but
boo. Is anyone else gonna boo that? Is this gonna be me? Rob, you want boo? I'm gonna boo that joke. Boo.
So how did Frank get the mercenaries to stop attacking them?
Damn it, Forrest, you ruined my point. I was
themselves.
trying to arrive at it.
They all killed themselves, basically.
No, I think he had to sleep with the Raiders. Just keep. If I do this, you gotta stop attacking.
Wait, so Forrest, what I hear is that you want to spin
and
off.
then he just tells them that the flamethrowers finish them off.
The flamethrower.
Something's flaming, that's for sure.
He's just in bed with like 5 guys.
Yeah, there's like 3 to 5 of them left.
One's like
Forrest,
one's like horribly burned.
Forrest, what I hear is you want a spin-off called The Last of Cock.
No,
it's just a story of Frank
is a whore.
Sleeping his way through the apocalypse.
That should be part of the title.
It's called Frank is a whore.
Frank the whore.
Frank the post-apocalyptic whore.
The first, it's called The First of Us. Frank's a whore. The First of Us,
The whore of us. Yeah, I don't know.
Who gave away an instrument of violence
His
for
butthole
a
was
moment?
his butthole was
peace.
of incalculable value.
Thank
Like
you.
the seeds.
I thought you were about to say his bow was a weapon of mass
Jeez,
destruction.
Forrest.
He gave
Really?
away like
No,
Joel,
Forrest is right. No,
Bill gave away his gun,
every
and
person's
Frank gave away
butthole
something else.
is of incalculable value. Treasure your butthole. If you don't treat it well, it will fuck you. It will make you pay. This episode brought to you by Sherman.
Taco Bell.
Or Taco Bell, one of the two, or none at all. But guys, let's flash forward. Let's get away from this awkward conversation. Let's flash forward to present-ish day 2023, where cancer is still a bitch, apocalypse or not. So Frank chooses his last day, and he picks out everything he wants to do. Right? He's dying of cancer. We don't know how he knows he has cancer, but cancer is cancer. You kind of know it. We don't know how he got the right medicine for cancer, since he
Joel
was
mentioned medicine, and
he mentioned medicine,
little
but
bit.
but it's not a headache. It's not like he just gave him ibuprofen. Like, there's different cancer pills for different cancers, right? And there's no way to properly diagnose what cancer he has.
How he named the pills. It was like the big roundy.
Yeah, dude.
The
Fuck yeah,
Longboard
dude. That's
G.
exactly how I want my pills to be named. Yeah, the big roundy is exactly how I want my pills to be.
They probably had to go to the library and get
And
a
what
medical textbook.
What was it? He was also in the Parks and Recreation.
He was in Parks and Rec. He was Ron Swanson.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That'd
you kind of heard his other character. When he,
A little bit come
Enough
out.
to kill a horse. Put in there another.
Oh, yeah,
Kill
right.
a horse.
But guys, think about the love and respect Bill has for Frank, right? Frank says he wants to kill himself. Bill obviously doesn't want that to happen. First off, dude, I'm gonna admit, I'll be the first to say it. I shed a couple tears. I cried a little bit during this episode, right? And it's not just because I cried during wedding episodes on television, right? That I cried a little bit more when they got married. I was crying during this
camera
part,
view
dude.
through the window.
My god, the camera view! Look at there, Rob.
That was just the
cinematic
cherry
brilliance.
on top there.
Oh my god, the cinematic
Strawberry on top.
adventure of this.
The strawberry on top.
cream.
I like it.
Yes.
The seed on top. Yeah.
But think about this. Bill, he gives them to Frank. Frank chooses everything for his last day. But Bill has already decided, he doesn't want to live without him, so he's gonna die too, right? And he's so fucking selfless, right? He doesn't mention
How do
any
you
of this
think
shit.
he did it? Did he also put it in his wine?
Oh yeah, he said he put a bunch of pills
Because it looked
crushed
like
up
he
in the
dumped that
wine.
whole bag in that.
So I yes, it did. I just like to believe that when you crush up a bunch of pills, there's a lot more powder, I guess, right? So maybe he crushed up and put half of it in there and the other half. But you're right. It did look like the full bag of pills were crushed up.
And it was like the same amount of that little bit of wine he had in there.
Right.
Mix that well.
Yeah,
I mean, dude,
exactly.
if you
I
take,
agree with that. Thank you, Robbie. I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually one thing I was thinking. I was like, no, that shit doesn't mix that well. I can't mix salt water. I can't mix hot water and salt
And
that
he
well.
just chugged that thing.
And then, but dude, how beautiful was it when Bill chugged it too, right? So Frank chugs it,
Yeah.
just drinks, downs it all, right? And then Bill symbolically does the same thing, and like Frank instantly knows, fuck, did you just kill yourself too? And it's so beautiful, dude. They go off and notebook themselves, right? It's beautiful.
Yeah, it was emotional there.
And to put it in perspective, there was this terrible, just it breaks my fucking heart, thinking about it. There's a case 2 weeks ago here in Florida where a very old couple, husband was dying of cancer, right? He was terminally ill. And his 70s or 80s, the wife's 70s, 80s, or right. They decided it was supposed to be a murder suicide, but the husband wasn't strong enough to pick up the gun to kill his wife and then kill himself. So the wife killed the husband, but then couldn't pull the trigger on herself. And dude, I think about this maybe once a fucking day. My heart goes out to her.
That's rough to live with.
Dude, to be so in love with someone, to spend 50, 60 years of your life with somebody, right? And dude, when they're ready to die, I'm ready to die. right? And then you end up killing that person, and you can't do it to yourself, and you have to like live with that for the rest of your life. Like, that's rough, right? That's fucking rough. And I don't know, dude, it hits a home, and this episode hits a home. Like, this is love. It's messy. It's not easy, right? Sometimes it feels like the world's attacking you. Sometimes it feels like there's fucking fungus outside your walls, right? And what you just need to do is have your Frank and be your Bill, right? Whether that's platonic or romantically, be there for each other. So what a fucking episode! What a beautiful episode! And then like Robbie said,
all the hints when
dude, the zoom out
when
dude,
Joel and Ellie were walking into.
Yeah, he was like, "Don't go in the bedroom; it's gonna smell."
And the bedroom's locked,
the
and she gets the
letter.
letter. Oh, she gets the letter, and it's so
and
good.
and mentions Tess.
Yeah, like, it mentions Tess. Oh, and he's not allowed to mention Tess anymore. Before that, like, dude, he's like, to whomever finds this, but probably Joel. And then like Joel reading this because like anyone else would have like been blown up by my termites. Ha 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 ha. And I was like, dude, it's so
man,
good.
and he has in the game. It's
right
not just like traps outside the fence. It's all over the town. Because like
I heard this one of the best episodes of the game. Did you really enjoy that?
Yeah, before you find Bill, one of his traps, you're like hanging upside down, shooting zombies that are walking towards you, and you're just trapped upside down, hanging there.
Then Bill rescues you.
That's and then Bill eventually.
It's not Frank. Frank's. You're hanging
I guess
down.
that's
Frank's
one positive
right
is Bill survives.
But yeah,
he's actually in the garage when you're getting the truck.
so he survives the game. Does he get killed in the game?
Yeah, Bill survives in the game.
Oh, is he in part 2?
No, spoilers. No, spoilers. No.
I actually haven't even finished part 2.
Oh, okay.
But you've started part 2. You know he's in there.
I think that's our show.
I don't think he's in there.
I think we.
That's what she said.
Yeah. So, Major, you want to plug our social media?
Oh, you know I do, guys. You can join us on Twitter at Zealot Podcast. We'd love to hear from you guys. How terrible is Velma? I know you guys are going to tweet right now. You guys are watching Velma. I'm barely watching Velma. And I'm only doing it for you motherfuckers. It's awful. It's such
Are you still watching it, or are you just looking up reviews?
No, dude, I'm actually watching. I'm watching it for the fans.
It's like 1.6 IMDb.
Yeah, dude, and like, dude,
it's got a 6% on Rotten.
Pretty low.
It's not even like misogynistic or like vitriol enough to like hate watch. It's just like once every 15 minutes, there's like an insult at like, I don't know, your cis white male or whatever. And you're like, wait, what did you just say? Like, how did that get through like the editors or whatever? But it's not like infuriating enough to like rage watch. You know what I'm saying? It's like, this is when I watch Velma, it is an act of love for the listener and nothing fucking more. Much like Bad Batch, but Bad Batch is way more rewarding. Guys,
wait, so they're like subliminally
can I get a commitment from you?
messaging people?
What were you saying?
There's like subliminal messaging.
I mean, what's not subliminal messaging? But I don't know what you're referring to specifically.
Smoke.
Oh, in Velma.
Smoke.
Oh no, not subliminal. No subliminal messages. There's
subliminal messages in this podcast. Smoke.
Smoke.
Are you smoking?
Subscribe.
Talk about.
What were you saying?
Yeah. So I think we might dive into Bad Batch more next week, but we're like an hour and 10.
Oh,
so
but Forrest, can I get a personal commitment from you, Forrest, to watch episode 6 of the Bad Batch? You don't have to watch 5, but I want you to watch 6 Tribe. Will you watch that before the next episode?
Sure, I'll try my best. So.
No. There is no try. Do or do not. There is no try. Oh, we got it in.
If I do this,
all right, Moja.
If I do this, I want you to stay on the podcast for a little while.
Hey guys, bro.
Like Frank. Okay.
James Gunn announcing DCEU 2025 and beyond, guys. A 10-year plan. It sounds like Zealots is going to be around for 10 more years. 10 more years, 100 episodes. Forrest and Robbie and Tip insert the Rick and Morty rant.
That's a great way to close our show.
100 seasons,
Forrest.
100 years. You and me and Forrest
That's
tipping,
major.
and I'm Major.
I'm Tip.
And we'll see you next time. Thanks for listening.